to our business showcase, everyone. Today we have the wonderful Karen O'Connor from Inspired into Action by Karen. She is a mindset coach and founded her own business. She holds certifications in NLP and hypnotherapy, as well as completing various personal growth and business training. I actually know she was at some more training just last week, so she is very passionate about growing herself and her business. Karen's greatest joys are to help women reconnect with their true self, rediscover their passion, and help them clear their roadblocks holding them back from living the life they envision. So welcome, Karen. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Louise. Pleasure.
All right, let's get into it. So, Karen, I know your business isn't that old. When did you start all of this journey into NLP and starting your own business?
Sure. So my interest in personal growth and my personal journey started probably about a decade ago. So I've always been interested in learning and changing and just improving my life. But I came across a local provider, Inspired Results, here for the NLP, and I was really very, very interested because it actually, to me, most of what holds us back is in our minds. You know, we hold ourselves back, and to try to consciously make those changes, it's a lot more hard work than work with our minds and our subconscious. And so I did a training at the end of 2019, and I was still working part-time, and I think there's still a little bit of up in the air and hesitation. But early last year, I actually was diagnosed with cancer as I was going through a training to kind of like help me take the business online and how to present on socials and that. So as I was deciding to go for it, I was diagnosed, and that kind of like was a determining factor. I decided right there and then, as I was undergoing my treatment and learning, I said, I'm going to start, and I'm going to definitely go for it and like not leave it any longer, for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, I didn't know that you'd been diagnosed with cancer. You kept that well under wraps, but what an incredible turning point to, you know, launch you and force you into action. And I guess that's what your business is about as well, is that inspired to action. So you're helping women and men, obviously, grow into taking that action they need to. So what do you feel is the biggest thing that holds people back into taking action?
So I think the main thing, which is the change that I actually went through personally before I was diagnosed, and I think that was a really very much a pivot, is the fact that we realized we have the power and we have the responsibility of how we show up in our life. So when challenges happen, and in my case it was cancer, but it can be COVID, it could be anything, which obviously there's so many things outside our control. What we need to look at is, okay, that's the situation, what can I do about it? So that determines what you're going to do. So it's the difference between acting and reacting, you know, and it can happen from obviously big challenges like that, but it can be even at a small level where you've got a partner or a boss or somebody that is always pushing your buttons. And if they push your buttons, I say it's because you've got buttons to push, right? So there's always something that not that you're contributing to their behavior, but it's something that allows that pattern to happen. So when you say, okay, well, what can I do? Then you allow for changes within yourself, and that changes everything.
Yeah, that's amazing. So your business started, I guess, just before COVID sort of hit. And that's so brave to really push forward. I know that there were a lot of people that have pushed forward, but some didn't. And you've pushed forward with your business going, and you've kept growing yourself. How is your business going? Is it going well?
Sure. So last year was still a combination of learn and growth. And I think it's because I started with COVID, I actually had to start online. So I did, most of my clients have actually been from overseas. So from some of the networks and challenges and groups that I've joined. So it's all been thanks to Zoom, you know, which is an incredible, to me, I think it's incredible to be able to connect when you realize that no matter where you are, you know, people have the same, you know, the same wants and the same problems. So that's just been really beautiful. But I think the technology has been great, but I was learning how to, show up on social media and all these other things, which that then can sometimes get you into the trap that there's so much to learn and so much to do that. So for a few months, I was learning, I feel, too many things for somebody who's just starting. So, and this is, incidentally, I've ended up coaching quite a few clients that are looking at starting their own coaching business or healing practice or therapist. And you hear about the funnels and the challenge and the freebies and the summit, and then you don't know where to start. I got to create a program, and all of a sudden, at one point, I thought I was going to create a program. So that takes quite a few months, putting the content together and creating and all that. And then I realized, hang on a second, don't need that. I had a chat to a local coach, and he said, if you need money coming in, you can start working now. Those things are great, but they're long term. And so that's the difference between planning for the long term growth and working on the now. So I've decided this year I did like a little sort of reset, and I'm focusing on learning and just focusing on getting clients. I'm working with clients now. Then all those big sort of strategies and other things will come later on. And that helps a lot, because otherwise it can become overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, that direction definitely does help keep you on the right path, I guess, in business. Now, you said you've got quite a few international clients. Now, tell me about this. You networked on social media groups and connected with people internationally. That in itself is amazing. And I'm sure a lot of people want to know, how did you take your business internationally to start with?
Sure. So the program that I had signed up for was actually the Knowledge Broker Blueprint early last year when they started. And that was Tony Robbins, Ingrid Silsey, and Russell. So you've got mindset, business, and funnels, basically. They've created the program, which is a learning, a program where you can learn all the process. And they also created a platform, which is mastermind.com, where then if you create your program, you can actually have it there. So that's still happening, but obviously everything comes with the group. So within the group, even though everybody's looking at either starting or growing their business, then you start to get to see that people always have challenges, will be one aspect or the other. And out of that community, which by the way has over like nearly 35,000 people, that group, so it's massive, international. Then both Tony Robbins and Ingrid Silsey and then Pete Vargas, and they have all released and done other challenges. And so they're obviously even free challenges. So each challenge has a group, and those groups are of people really wanting to do that. Like what I like is they're like-minded people. So people that value service, they value helping others. So it's just making those connections. So that to me has been, which is why the way I started with overseas self-coach clients in America, another lady in the UK, somebody else in Japan, because I was a guest. And, it's a lot of collaboration as well, which is something that I love. I think sometimes the mentality of, I've always been big in collaboration, and sometimes you can have that mentality that this is mine, and if I share that, then and some people get stuck on that, but the truth is that sharing is how everybody grows. So we're helping each other grow, basically, and I think that's lovely. Yeah.
So that's amazing. You have definitely taken networking from being just a face-to-face thing, especially during a period where we couldn't face-to-face network, and you took it to a whole new level with online networking and social media networking, and you've been able to build your business like that. That is amazing. And I think a lot of people can learn from that, because yes, face-to-face networking is amazing, and it is very much about surrounding yourself with those like-minded people, but online networking is just as powerful in the same way. You still create those same communities and those same connections.
Yeah, and I think that what I had with because my first few clients were from KBB, the Knowledge Broker Blueprint, and so then we're still part of the same group, and the what I love the most is that those clients I still keep in touch, because they become those friends from far away places, and it's somebody had a comment, and they say, isn't it so beautiful that I feel like wherever I go, I would feel at home, because you've got a friend no matter where you go, and I've got people in Europe and in America, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think making those business friends, those friends are around for a really long time, and they understand where you are and what you're doing when you're in business as well, which is so important.
Yeah. And if I can add something as well, I think that you just said it's super important, because sometimes we don't have that close to home. And I feel that I've heard it from some people that, oh, but I wish my husband understood, and sometimes you can't speak the same language with whether it's your parents or your kids or your partner, but then you find your tribe, and that doesn't take away from, if you find that, then you find that fulfillment there, as opposed to having that expectation that you have to. It's like, if you were at work and you come home and you talk to your husband or about work, and it's like, okay, I've heard that story already. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think we need to see, yes, it would be wonderful. And obviously there's so many couples that do that. And I think it's beautiful, but I think it shouldn't be a deterrent if you don't share that. Just find the people that you can share and talk about that, and grow that way.
Yeah, I love that. I love that message. So Karen, tell me, how can you help people if they're looking to do something that scares them? Because that's usually why we don't take action, right? It's because we're afraid of things. So how can you help people move past that?
Absolutely. I think you've just read my post from today. So I said, that's the main thing. We talk about, self-doubt. And the reality is that self-doubt is just founded in fear. So taking the step, whether it is starting a business or changing jobs or anything in life that is going to be challenging, has that element. And what I have, thanks to a combination of NLP and hypnotherapy, is just really, really powerful tools that can help work with people at that level. So not only, from a coaching sort of perspective, we can get clarity and determine your goals and that, but we can also work on clearing those negative emotions and those limiting beliefs from, that oftentimes are really founded in events in our past, or I just sort of want to say that, particularly for many women, which is what I work mostly with women, is, whether you've had at home with parents or a past relationship where perhaps you felt like you couldn't really speak up, you had to compromise, or you couldn't, and you kind of like get a bit lost in that, that sort of threading in eggshells. And I was in a situation like that. I had I married my first love, except that he was a lot older. So I was 19 when we married. So to me, he was the world, and anything he said, was wonderful. And I was more than happy, except that then I realized that I get to a point when then, one of those personalities, if you don't agree, then, then you're having an argument, and it gets to a point where you want to avoid arguments, and then you don't speak up. And I remember one time when I was at an ice cream, I love ice cream, I love gelato. We were traveling through Europe. So I had one in the outside seemed like a wonderful life, because we spent a year traveling in Europe, because he ended up writing a book. And I could not choose what ice cream I wanted to have, because I love this one, but what if it's wrong? What if that new flavor that I've not tried, which I really would like to try as well, is better? And that's what keeps us stuck. Doubting ourselves, and that says, do I take the leap? Do I? And the beauty nowadays is, if you do have a job, I say you don't really have to quit your job. There's the people that burn the bridges, and I would say, look, financially, if you have a job, start something on the side and build it, and then you can still do both initially, and that's not a problem. But that's when you realize that, hey, something's got to give, and it's not enough to leave the relationship, because that happens. But whatever needs to grow within you so that it doesn't happen again, That's not going to change just because you left. And that's when you get a lot of people that end up having the second and the third relationship, and it's the same pattern. It's just something, it's like life lessons. You have to learn it so that you can move on. If you don't learn it, it's going to be the same lesson. So you're just going to keep happening again and again. And whether it's in business, people that make money and then lose it, and you see that pattern as well. It happens a lot of times. So I just think taking responsibility and making the decision that you want to work on yourself is the first step for anything, really.
And people can call you and email you. We're going to put your details on the screen for this, as well as link it to the recording when we share this. So people will be able to get in contact with Karen and chat about how you can break through your own barriers and get into action as well.
Absolutely. So Facebook or email. And I would like to offer as well, anybody, if they like that, it's interested from here, if they put in the comments BSW Connect, when they let me know that they want, I'll give them a half an hour free call. So normally I do like a 15-minute consult, but I'll do a half an hour for you guys.
Wow, that's amazing. Everyone should jump on that for sure.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. It has been wonderful chatting with you. And, I hope to chat with you again in another year and see where your business has gone in that time as well.
That'll be exciting.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye for now.